Take a look at this. The roof was blown off of this building, and this is what's left. The destruction inside this building. Drywall everywhere, doors tossed around. This was a record year for hurricane activity as Louisiana fell within the cone of uncertainty 8 times. If you walk outside right now, it is obvious that we are still feeling the impact of Hurricane Delta. And as the night goes on, we do expect to see some damage out here. The COVID-19 vaccine has officially landed here at Women's Hospital, and we are now leading the southern states with the lowest positivity rate per capita. Folks, the doors are closing as we speak. It is 8 o'clock on the dot, and now we just wait as the numbers roll in. Thousands of sandbags have been filled here in Iberville Parish. What you're looking at behind me is the roof that was completely blown off of Tiger Drive-In. For the first time in 36 years, there will be a new mayor. Let me tell you, it smells as good as it looks out here, so I may need to get a pancake myself.
Please do.
Good evening and Happy New Year. I'm Abbi Rocha. Thank you for joining us for Fox 44 News at 5:30. Ascension Parish recently elected its first black woman as Justice of the Peace. Fox 44's Kennedy Walker shares how a family legacy gave her the courage to chase a dream. East Baton Rouge Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome will be sworn into her second term this weekend. And we are not the only state seeing an increase in those COVID-19 numbers. Tonight, COVID-19 continues to surge across the United States. Now, in developing news, Baton Rouge police are investigating a deadly shooting overnight. That is quite the tongue twister there. People, pipes, pets, and plants.
Plants, yeah.
Plants.
I've had some pretty rough mix-ups there.
Yeah,
so just be careful.
Well, I can see how. And even before the clock struck midnight, many have been setting their goals for 2021, but keeping a resolution is harder than making one. Now in Donaldsonville, a principal and her family donate hundreds of toys to the community every year for Christmas with the help of a special visitor who sits on her front porch. And of particular concern among healthcare workers tonight, increased hospitalizations. Welcome back. It's the season of giving, and the Salvation Army is asking those around Baton Rouge to adopt their very own angel. Taking you to New Orleans now. Decades ago, the great Louis Armstrong wrote that music is life itself. This morning's inauguration for Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome may have been spread out, but she's promising to bring the parish closer together. We have an important reminder for homeowners. Residents in East Baton Rouge now have until Monday to pay their 2020 property tax bill online without a penalty. Bars in Ascension Parish must close their doors once again after having a high positivity rate for 2 weeks. This news is making some bar owners question if they'll have to shut down for good. Now, it's usually the most wonderful time of the year, but the holidays are bound to be more difficult in 2020, especially for children. In May and June, tensions over racial inequality and police brutality boiled over across the country following the killing of George Floyd by police officers in Minnesota. The tragedy sparked protests across the country, including here in Baton Rouge, as hundreds took the streets in a peaceful march.
I was arrested by the Central Police Department this morning. I was led into a trap. A half a dozen officers handcuffed me, put me in the back of the car, and booked me into East Baton Rouge Parish Prison.
Embattled Pastor Tony Spell planned a news conference Tuesday morning. As he approached reporters, Central Police officers approached him. He points and says something to the officer, then walks in another direction.
He wanted to have his news conference.
And before he can make it to the waiting microphones, he's put in cuffs.
We're not out here for a news conference. We have a job to do.
Spell is charged with assault after this incident with a protester caught on camera Sunday, along with 2 outstanding bench warrants for traffic violations.
I think that the Central Police Department is trying to close down the church. They have not been able to do so. And so they took a complaint from someone who was obviously biased against the church and ran with it.
His congregation creating a spectacle in the adjacent parking lot to the EBR Parish Prison. There they stood praying and worshiping while Spell awaited his bail. Shortly after, bail money arrived and Spell was bonded out. $5,000 later, Spell walked free.
I want to give hope to every Christian in this nation today. You don't let anybody take your rights to go to church. You don't let anybody take your rights to assemble.
Stand strong.
You stand strong. And don't ever forget that Jesus Christ is the Savior of this world.
Spell is continuing to stand by his defiant statements in the middle of a global pandemic.
I will not give up my right to have church. I will not give up my rights to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ.
One of his parishioners has COVID-19. The other died from complications of the virus.
I will see you in church tonight at 7:30 where I'm going to preach.
I am just fired up, and I am not in any way, shape, or form, planning on stopping.
Samantha Brennan says telling her story is helping her heal from this traumatic experience.
I drank way too much, and my friend Luke had dropped me off at the apartment complex, and somehow Darius and I met back up at my apartment. I don't really remember anything from that night. After that, I just remember waking up the next day. Didn't have any clothes on, which is super unlike me. Then a couple weeks later, I walked into work, and one of my coworkers pulled me aside, told me that there was a nude photo of me going on the football team.
Brennan says LSU running back Darius Geis shared the photo with his teammates.
I did not know that they had a legal obligation to report to the Title IX and do an investigation. So, in hindsight, I realized they did not do what they were supposed to do.
After reporting the incident, she says LSU officials asked her what kind of investigation she wanted to pursue.
They should have put that amount of pressure on a young 19-year-old girl, basically someone's potential career life in their hands.
LSU's Title IX policy indicates victims of sexual harassment or assault can choose between filing a complaint or requesting a full investigation.
And 19-year-old, scared, naive me told them they can go ahead and do it behind closed doors, but I don't know what that meant.
The entire situation took a toll on her mental health, ultimately ending with her leaving LSU.
It became the Darius Geis show. That's when I really just couldn't sit and allow, 100,000 fans to scream his name on a Saturday night. It definitely built up a lot of, stress and anxiety. I thought I saw a future, in Louisiana. And he did take that away.
Now Brennan is asking the LSU interim president for transparency.
He is the one that is the record keeper. He's the one that's keeping me from my police report. So if he wants to help all of this, then first things first, stop interrupting and produce the police report.
And she says the worst part is knowing she is not alone. Abbi Rocha, NBC, Local 33 News.